got Ron and Kirsten here for this week's edition of Ask Ron. So let's get started. Our first question is from Mauricio in Cooper City, Florida.
Hey, man.
He says, I have a client that has a house, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and is 2 acres in Ocala. My questions are, I couldn't find any comps on Zillow. Says no result found. Where else can I go to check comps?
Oh, golly. Go to Google and type in houses for sale in Cooper City, Florida. And here will come a whole bunch of websites where you can go get comps. And then go back to Zillow and find out what you did wrong, because there is always comps, especially if the house is in a subdivision. And play with it until you get it right. You can go to Trulia. You can go to realquest.com. You got to pay for that site though. You can go to homegain.com. There's just a mountain of them. And go find one you like the best and get familiar with it. But honestly, I think Zillow is probably going to be as good as any of them. Go back and find out what you screwed up.
All right, he also says that she said the value of the house is $130,000.
Not
and
until
she's
you get comps.
giving it to me for $60,000 cash.
All right, well, you need to get the comps before you can figure out whether that's a deal or not.
The house has identified sinkhole activity and needs about $20,000 in repairs. What is the contract that I should use?
Well, I'd probably buy it for less than $60,000, and then you use a simple purchase and sale agreement.
Okay. So our next question is from Charles in Washington, D.C. And he wants to know, do I have to register my private lending site? When I type it into Google, no search engine can seem to find my site.
Well, how would you expect it to find your site? You've got to get a URL and have it directed to your site. So go to GoDaddy or wherever and get yourself a URL that you like, and then direct it to your site. And if you'll go on line on the private lending site there, it should tell you how to do that. And if it don't, just email Kirsten here and she'll get Nick to answer that question and give you exact instructions. But nobody's going to find your site till you direct them there, and you need a URL to do that. See, all sites are, I mean, the site is the same for everybody that uses it, but in order to make it your individual site, you have to have your individual URL.
All right, next is Rick Farmer in Ventura, California.
Hey, Rick.
Hi, Ron. I was wondering if you were doing an axe deal and assigning a lease option. What if the seller wants an option deposit? Do you negotiate as a small deposit as possible and tell them whatever I can get above that is my assignment fee?
Yes.
How would you handle that?
Well, we handle that just like that. You named it. If the seller insists on a deposit, go ahead and write it up that way. And then tell them, well, I'll go see what the market will bear. Then go find out what the market will bear. And if you like the numbers, just go ahead and give them their deposit. If you don't like them, go back and renegotiate with them. We do that all the time. That's actually very common. In fact, that's probably at least a third of the deals we do. We go back and renegotiate with the seller after we find the buyer. The key is get it under contract. See what the market will bear. You can always go back and change it. That includes all cash deals as well, guys. Don't hesitate to put these things under contract for all cash, especially if there's some equity in them. And then go see if the bring a lease option tenant buyer in there and see if you can get a substantial down payment from them, and then go back to the seller and say, hey, I got this person, they got $20,000 down, I'll split it with you, and we think they can get financed within a year or whatever. And quite often the seller will change their minds and go ahead and put them in the house. Because remember, they get their payment made while they're waiting, plus they get a little cash, and they get a possibility that they will get cashed out. So that's not really that hard of a sell. Key, put it under contract, see what the market will bear, go back and renegotiate. You've got nothing to lose.
All right, our last question is from Lisa in Las Vegas.
Hey, Lisa.
She says, a prospect for an axe lease option asked if his attorney could review the paperwork. I complied, and the attorney said that because the real property possession and lease agreement contained a clause prohibiting assignment, that the assignment to the tenant buyer was not valid. The tenant buyer could challenge this and have the lease voided at any time. Has anyone ever heard of this? If so, how is it best addressed?
Well, it's best addressed by just getting the attorney to create an addendum, because it does say it's not assignable, but you are assigning it with the seller's permission. Remember, the whole deal here on an axe deal is you're going to go find the tenant buyer to put them in the house that the seller is going to approve. So if that's an issue with you, I'm surprised your attorney didn't tell you this. Just get the seller to sign off on it. Get the buyer to sign off on it. It's a little old paragraph that they stick in on an addendum. And honestly, if that's the best you're going to get out of your attorney, you might want to be asking yourself, is this the right attorney? Instead of just trying to kill a deal for you, you should come up with a simple solution, just like that. That's it.
That's it. Those are our questions for the week.
All right, guys, I want to give you some information. Write down these dates. Write down the dates of December 12, 13, and 14. because we haven't announced it yet, but we're going to be doing a seller financing boot camp here in Jacksonville during those dates. It's a very special event. It's a one-time event. And we're going to bring everybody up to code on the Dodd-Frank and the SAFE Act and all the cool things we're doing with seller financing, buying and selling. So just write down those dates. You'll get the information on it soon. In fact, Gold Club members are going to get a really, really special deal on it as well. Block the dates, December 12, 13, and 14, and don't let anything get in your way being here. You'll see why when you get the letter. We've also got some other things coming up. You know, business management is coming up in November. We got commercial boot camp in October, and information and internet marketing boot camp in September. You guys can easily get the information by contacting us or going on our sites. These are all great events, and we only do them one time a year. So it'll be at least a year and a year and a quarter before you can get into them again. So go take a look while you can. You got a lot of year left. Got plenty of time to get some killer deals going out there right now. So let's get at it. See you next week.